And welcome back. It is Ray Michaels here. We are at America Fest 2024. I can't believe it. We're here with Total News Nation and Grassroots 50, and we have the honor of having retired Colonel Rob Maness is with us here, and it's so great having you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. This is my first America Fest.
Is that right?
I come from Gulfport, Mississippi.
Wow, the great state of Mississippi. So I saw that you were here with Lieutenant Colonel Wendy Rogers. She is a legislator here in Arizona. You've known her for quite a long time.
Over a decade now.
Well, and I understand you too have run for public service.
Yeah, I've run for the United States Senate a couple of times. My biggest race was in 2014 against a guy named Bill Cassidy and a senator named Mary Landrieu over in Louisiana, where I lived before I moved to Mississippi.
First of all, thank you so much for your service. I mean, to get to that title, Colonel, is amazing, and we appreciate it so much. We have such a honor and respect for people that serve the country like you did. So thank you.
Thank you, Ray. It was a privilege to get the opportunity to do that.
You know, I love it when people who serve actually understand that, and they thank us, saying that it was a privilege. That really, it's a dynamic that we don't have. I don't see a lot of the Democratic candidates who say that they served say what an honor it was to be in that position. Now, in the great state of Mississippi, you're doing a lot of things right now, and maybe you can share it. I understand you have your own television show as well.
Yeah, my own television show is broadcast live Monday through Thursday every week, and it's from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. We're on a network called Worldview Tube. You can find them on X or at worldviewtube.com, on Rumble. And you can find Rob Maness Show on X under my name. It's at Rob Maness. And my website is robmaness.com. And the show broadcasts to all of my channels, which is about 500,000 followers total. And then on Worldview Tube, and they're on Roku and Amazon Fire and Samsung. And on Rumble, obviously, for the live broadcast. So we get a little bit of reach out there.
You know, for those of you who don't know what it's like to have a show, you think, oh, it's only an hour a day for 4 days. There's not a lot of show prep. There's not a lot of background, right? Give us the reality of having a show for 1 hour. How many hours do you actually have to work on that 1 hour show?
Well, I just recently started making enough money where I could hire an actual scheduler. That's part-time, though, so I'm still the full-time scheduler. So scheduling is a big part of that challenge. We're trying to get Steve,
and nobody ever cancels, right?
Right.
At the last minute. No, that never happens.
And the bigger the name is, the more opportunity you get to cancel. We're like, for instance, right now, I'm working with Maureen Bannon over at Real America's Voice to try to get her dad, who's a friend of mine, Steve Bannon, on the show because he wants to do it, and I wanted to get him on the show. But we have to work through multiple schedules, including mine, in order to do that. So fortunately, there's a lot of time that goes into that. But every day, you know, I get up at what we call in the military ODARK 30, so I'm up before sunrise. And I write the production sheet. I do have a producer that works out of Memphis, where the network is, and he brings everybody into a virtual studio using a piece of software and runs the operation from there. But I write the production sheet, which means I do the opening monologue, I set the title, the episode number. I like to use cold open video clips, kind of like what you see on War Room is where I got the model from. Right. So I do the research on that, find the clips, and then publish that sheet. And before 9 o'clock in the morning, the producer has that sheet in his hands. And when I'm not working on the production, I'm taking care of the guests. You know, you got to babysit the guests, right? And make sure you're reaching out to them. So I got, you know. And
so you're the producer, the writer, the director, the talent.
Yeah.
You do the whole
shebang.
Whole shebang.
Whole shebang. But you know what? It keeps my mind in the game, so to speak. You know, and because this new media that's out here, which you guys are part of too, it's amazing what's happened just in the last 2 or 3 years. With what I call them the regime media. instead of the corporate or legacy
right.
media. So the regime media has lost their way and is no longer a free press. They're captured by governments, by corporations,
Special
by political
interests.
parties.
Yeah.
So it's us independent people that are doing it. So that's why I get up. Luckily, being in the military for 30 plus years, I'm used to getting up really early in the morning and working till long hours of the day. So
It's second nature
yeah,
to you.
Yeah, and after the show's the easy part, doing the show itself. Because
it's so true.
Look, I was a bombardier when I flew in the Air Force, so a big part of my life is being on time down to the second. So as far as like during the show and doing the timing and all that, I'm a natural at that. So it's really easy during that part. But then after the show, I do the post-production. So I do post-production, and then I upload the content on places like X and Getter and True Social now and Facebook as video. So we have to do the post-production cut of the video. I do all that
And
too.
you do
so
all
about 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when I'm winding up my activity there, and then I'm going about and doing the other stuff.
And you're a
that I like
jack
to
of
do.
all trades, looks like.
Yeah, I've learned a lot.
So now, do you normally like to have them in studio? You do it virtual?
We do right now. We do all of ours virtually. The main studio is in Memphis, Tennessee, at Worldview Tube, and the producer there pulls us, the guest, and me in via Skype software. So they build a virtual studio on the
Do you
set.
ever have to instruct? Because I'm sure the people that you're interviewing are pros at this. But sometimes the camera is down too far. It's not lit well. Background maybe isn't conducive. Do you try to assist them in the green room and say, "Hey, can you change this?"
So the producer that's in Memphis, that's on the other end, he's the one that's doing that. When the guest gets called and brought into the studio, the virtual studio, that my producer, his name is Reagan, by the way. Reagan brings them in. He's the one that, it is a great name, and he's the one that instructs them on camera and audio if they have any issues.
Yeah, so by the time they come into you,
they're ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you base a lot of your shows on? I mean, you want to stay very current, right, about what's going on.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and you do this live.
I do it live.
At 1 o'clock?
4 o'clock or 3 o'clock Eastern, 2
3
o'clock Central.
Eastern, okay.
And I also bring in you know what spaces are on X?
Oh, yeah.
Audio space. So we do a simulcast with an audio space, and I have a host, the same person that helps me with my scheduling. She hosts that space, but it's tied into the TV broadcast live during that hour. And every 15-minute segment, I will allow a question from that live audience if they have questions. So it's kind of a blend between
an
TV
interactive
broadcast and plus a conservative talk radio. So I try to do it that way. It's not we don't run a loose ship with the audio guests. We keep it pretty tight, but it works really well. And the audio audience is really a big part of our show. So
that's amazing, especially if you can stay current on things that are happening. And I'm sure that you have a monitor there that you're watching to some news. If it's breaking news, you bring that in and everything.
I do, and my Spaces host is also monitoring it, and she can talk in my ear.
That's amazing.
And the studio up in Memphis, that producer, he talks in my ear too. But every day we've got a theme. I'm a theme guy. I like themes. And with my military background, on Mondays, unfortunately, I have a themed day of More War Mondays. When I first ran for the U.S. Senate, and a big part of my advocacy platform now is ending the endless war policies that America's gotten into.
It's the neocon is...
So we do a report every Monday. We try to bring a guest in to talk about all the different wars that are going on. And, of course, we never run out of material.
No.
I look forward to someday, and I publicized this a couple of weeks ago, doing away with More War Monday and calling it something like Magic Monday or something like that. So on Tuesdays, we have what's called Training Tuesdays. So if I want to dive deep into a topic with a guest that my audience may not know a whole lot about, I try to bring them in on a Tuesday and do what I call a training session. And then, there's been a whole lot of whistleblowers in the last 5 years, especially. So Wednesday is dedicated to Whistleblower Wednesday, and I never run out of material.
No.
And then Thursday is it's almost a catch-all, but it's not. Really, it's called Truth Thursday. So we try to bring in a guest that can talk about a really hard-to-take topic honestly for anybody,
right.
And get them to tell the truth about it. and I like doing that. I've been involved in national security, in the military, in politics now. I've been working in nonprofits to try to end the woke ideology indoctrination that's happening in our universities and our schools.
Any chance of getting some honesty with regard to this whole shutdown where people are, oh my gosh, we're going to shut down the... listen.
I spent over 3 decades of my life in the U.S. Air Force, from age 17 to almost 50. And I went through several shutdowns. I don't even know how many. I've never lost a paycheck, never not been able to pay a bill. There's no government civilian that's ever not been paid before. As a matter of fact, the non-essential people get sent home. They still get paid. They still accrue vacation time. They still get their medical care. None of that stops. So it's just a bunch of lies. When you see, especially Democrats like Jamal Bowman, I saw, and Hakeem Jeffries, and all the typical, the typical suspects.
Didn't he pull like a fire alarm?
Yeah, the fire alarm guy, the usual suspects that are professional liars coming on saying, oh, they're hurting the American people and the working people they say that they support. That's just not true. It's untrue.
Yeah.
The worst thing about government shutdowns is they shut the national parks down. And you know what, though? This time of year is the perfect time to have a government shutdown. Most of these people are not working anyway because they're on these long Christmas vacations.
Right.
The national parks this time of year really aren't being visited a whole lot anyway. The worst part about it is they closed the monuments in D.C. down. I was at the one in 2013 when Barack Obama closed the World War II monument. Well, at that time, all these World War II veterans were being flown to D.C. on what's called honor flights by volunteers that were paying for it and paying their way and everything because they were dying off, the World War II veterans. And there's not that many of them left. So we wanted them to see this brand new World War II memorial that was built on the National Mall. Well, Barack Obama purposely shut that down.
Yeah.
Guess what? The Million Veteran March happened that day, and I got to be part of that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Governor Sarah Palin was there. Ted Cruz was there. All kinds of folks came down. Mike Lee. They all came down to that. But you know what really was great was when the young veterans decided they were going to take the barriers down and march them over to the White House fence and lay them up against the fence. And then we just went in and occupied the monument and did our speeches.
And rightly so. It belongs to we the people.
It does.
That's right.
So it's a bunch of lies. Don't worry about it.
All right. So tell us how we get to see you again.
My website is robmaness.com. Facebook is at Colonel Rob Maness, at COL Rob Maness. And Getter, we're on Getter, and we're recently up on True Social Live. And Worldview Tube is our network, and you can find them live on X and on Rumble and on True Social.
Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to see some of your programs, and I'm sure you keep an archive of some of the past programs as well.
Go to the website, robmaness.com. You can find all the archives there.
All right. Have you interviewed Tom Holman?
I have not interviewed Tom Holman.
We need to get him on your show.
I need to get him on my show.
Because you would have a lot to talk about
and
how we're going to implement this. A lot of people are worried about, there's only so much we can do coming up, with regard. No, I think there's a lot we can do.
When I ran for U.S. Senate, I ran on 3 core issues the year before Donald Trump ran. Border security, energy independence, and end the endless war policies. What are the 3 core issues that Donald Trump won on in 2016 and just won on again? Those 3 issues.
I think he was probably watching your show.
I don't know, but I feel like I was John the Baptist kind of preparing the way.
That's right. Amen. Amen. All right, Rob, Colonel, thank you so much for joining us here today. We appreciate you being here at AmericaFest 2024. We are Total News Nation and Grassroots 50. And you know what? We're going to try to get the Rob Maness show on Grassroots 50 in the great state of Mississippi.
Yes,
We're going to try to put it on there as well. So stick around. We got a lot of great interviews coming up. Again, I'm Ray Michaels. And until next time, we'll see you real soon.